This story will cover from then to now and next, all about change, how to turn losers into winners. We're in Somerset, in the west of England, not far from the large city of Bristol. Just down the road from here is a typical Somerset village called Chew Magna. Down amongst the trees, by a stream, is a kind of wilderness with a rather unusual community coexisting there. Some viewers may remember an American TV series called Meet the Fockers, featuring some amusing characters in various amusing family situations. It's now time to meet the Nutters. Whereas the original Meet the Fockers cast became known and enjoyed all over the world on television, the non-human cast of the Nutters is probably as intriguing and as entertaining here in their own ways. And there are quite a few, brought together around the offer of peanuts by the stream.
What the hell are you doing?
The wildlife characters include Woody Woodpecker, Robin, without Batman, Dunno the Dunnock, Ron the Heron, and various tits. It's a bit silly, really. Now here's an animal both liked and disliked. Grey squirrels were originally introduced from North America in 1876 and have subsequently spread disease to our popular cute red squirrel, though they, the greys, are not affected. They are very versatile and quite bold, and favour cherries, for example. This tree, cherry, was never allowed to produce a ripe red cherry. The greys have outcompeted the reds in much of Britain, perhaps the role of the villain in our story. And of course nuts are a great attraction, if you can get at them. This kind of feeder is supposed to be squirrel-proof, but is it? Well, we'll see. Now look out for falling bits of peanut. He's looking for a weakness in the design and strength of materials. Feeder makers, please note. The roof perhaps. This will be an ongoing challenge. And they need a bigger feeder, with claws, not jaws. But the whole lot of shaking has been successful. The blackbird gets a snack, and the squirrel seems to realise this is a good idea, at least for the moment, and for the blackbird too. A hedge sparrow, or dunnock, called Dunno, seems to be missing its tail, but it's getting its nuts in this second-hand way, thanks to a chaffinch up there. This up and down system increases the variety of characters at the feeder. Robin picks up bits down below, but also operates directly on the food source above. Right now he probably won't, because that tough guy, the greater spotted woodpecker, has moved in. Down there something odd is happening, because of ants. Our blackbird is anting, as it's called, spreading ants and the formic acid they produce as defence over his plumage to clean it. Woodpeckers also eat ants. The wood pigeon, not Woody the Woodpecker, is joined by Squirrel Nutkin. The pigeon has spotted something unusual. That flashing tail has caught his eye. Perhaps the moorhen looks back at its usual home, the sanctuary of the stream, which flows right past the feeder, which is next to the house. The nutters are always on the lookout. At least when they're not continuing the roof project. Maybe needs a bit more thought. After his stroll on the lawn, back to the safety of the stream. But not so. We'll call him Ron, the heron. He'll take mostly fish, but small mammals and frogs are also on this powerful predator's menu. Even birds, reptiles, insects and other small creatures, and some veg. But what about peanuts? For a heron? A young robin just out of the nest would be a welcome snack. Camouflage is good, but movement could let it down, and the parent shows the way to it. Robin knows exactly where it is, and feeding is super quick. Peanuts plus worms hopefully will enable the chick to thrive. Ron gets distracted by a passing perch, more like his usual prey, in his more usual hunting place. Red fins, red breast, like a robin, on a male stickleback, Sammy. This is his nesting spot, right next to the nut feeder. The stickleback nests here too, but underwater of course, under a log in fact. He's attracted a possible mate. As seen by, not a bird this time, but a nutter's small mammal, a bankfoal. Next to the nesting stickleback's home is a rather unlikely combination. It's a caddisfly larva, in its case made of sticks. The bankfoal, they'll call him Banksy of course, is frightened off by Ron the heron, who leaves the place to the two Nutkins, one of whom seems to be determined to break in. But we did get a bigger boat with a tougher roof. And soon life returns to normal in the busy world of the nutters. Down below, the dance of the damselflies. Blue males compete and display to the brown females with their delicate wings and protruding eyes. A stickleback passes below in a world so different from that just a short distance above, a vole's eye view in fact. Damselflies dance over the surface, but other insects, like water skaters, actually use the moving skin of the stream, with the tips of their legs casting shadows. Front legs for grabbing prey, middle ones as oars for rowing, and hind ones as rudders. Amazing. And who's watching who? Damselflies have fantastic eyesight for catching their prey in mid-air and for eventually getting a mate. They have the perfect equipment for hunting. Extraordinary to think that this delicate aerial operator lived for some 2 years as a nymph underwater in the mud, before emerging as this aerial angel. And flies are pretty nimble too, possibly short-sighted. Perhaps the mating pair won't notice. Keeping his strength up. Also hidden in the mud below is a neighbour of the stickleback. Summertime, mayfly time. Like damselflies, they may spend a long time before rising to the surface. After a brief life of a few days, when the adults take no food, they die. But many don't make it at all. Meanwhile, back where mayflies hatched and damselflies danced, Robin has got his beady eye open and spots something new to the Nutter's cast of characters. You could call him Freddy, the field mouse, he of the long tail and prominent ears, whereas the well-established bank vole here has a shorter tail and small ears. The newcomer, the mouse, seems to be having a problem adjusting to the situation. He's normally shy, prey to lots of predators such as cats, and is mainly nocturnal, so this is a bit daring and risky. But nuts can be a fatal attraction. Now it's the vole's turn, but he's overwhelmed by a family of great tits, the parents having brought the chicks to this easy supply of food. The young robin has, thankfully, not fallen prey to a cat yet, and his red breast is on the way. A takeaway tit dropping bits of nut. A parent robin tidying up. And again, Robin spots a newcomer, a real nut enthusiast, a nuthatch. We call him Nutty. Of course, he doesn't actually hatch any nuts, but he does have special skills. He prefers to operate upside down before taking his takeaway to more privacy nearby, perhaps in a hazel tree, where he'll find another nutter, Squirrel Nutkin. Late summer, still lots of green leaves and hazelnuts, if you can find them, in there. Squirrels are pretty agile, whether it's up there or down on the ground. And that's where he'll be going next, by that frustrating feeder with its successful design, strength and especially the roof. Easy access to Nutty, who knows a good thing when he sees it, albeit upside down, but he can climb both ways. Another takeaway, but what to do with it? For later use, if he can find it again. Or what's to stop other squirrels doing just that? And still a few hot days for a Jenny wren to sunbathe. And the hedge sparrow ants on. The last dandelions for a male bullfinch. A very late brood of grape tits. They never stop. And the mallards were successful. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's looking more autumnal now, and the drake mallard is looking his best too. And he's feeding up for the winter. Not really a nut customer, but these long-tailed tits certainly are nut cases. The mallard pair, wild ducks, he's not called Donald, are joined by a veritable tit mix. A coal tit with its distinctive head pattern, the cute blue tit, and a great tit amongst the longtails. Everyone seems to be moving off. Well, except Freddie. So is a grass snake to hibernate amongst the autumn leaves. Two for the price of one. Nutty watches. A late species of dragonfly drops in, using the feeder pole as a perch. Nuts and berries are vital food through winter, especially a hard one, though this seems less likely due to climate change caused by us. It affects whole populations of wildlife, like these redwings who have flown in from Scandinavia for the scarlet bounty. These thrushes help disperse the seeds in the berries far and wide, and incidentally, supply a robin waiting down below. And over there is a surprise visitor, with a much tougher beak for the job. A hawfinch drops in for a snack in a yew tree. The berries have a soft coating which may attract birds, which will disperse them in their droppings. For some, that won't happen, because the beak of the hawfinch is a seed and nut killer. So is a great tit for that matter, a captive food supply which will become increasingly important as winter approaches for all the nutters that depend on the feeder. The very last flowers of autumn, ivy, vital to much wildlife. Including the specialised ivy bee, first described in 1993 and busy like this from September to December. Spawning time for 2 rainbow trout, possibly washed out of Chew Valley Lake upstream in a flood. Clearing a patch in the gravel where any eggs may be laid. Is this damage from digging or some sort of disease? Appropriately named the tree creeper, it does what it says on the trees. Unlike the nuthatch, which creeps down, the tree creeper goes up. Perhaps they see different food items from their different angles and thus compete less. From our angle on the nut feeder, this is a welcome visitor. The little egret has spread right across Britain, having come up from France. It uses its yellow feet to flush out prey. They survive our winters, no doubt helped by global warming. But when the snow does arrive, the nut feeder comes into its own. And gangs of long-tailed tits, the blue tit, the dunnock, plus fatball. They're faced with a white desert. It may be pretty to us and enjoyed by kids, but hard on the wildlife. But the stream's still flowing over the possible trout eggs. But the nutters need their nuts. Time for a drink. You could say open water is as important as drinking and washing as it is for eating. And they have that at the feeder, as long as it's filled up all the time. But the snow's melting on the roof, the one that seems to have defeated the squirrel. A song thrush has found a snail. And the little egret seemed to have come inside, sort of. As the thaw continues, signs of spring appear. A smart drake mallard looking for a mate again. And he's found one already. The snow's gone completely. Saved by the nut feeder. Soon the redwings and other winter visitors will go too, as the snow clears much further north. They go, and the daffodils arrive from the patient bulbs below. And from the bankvole to another rodent, harvest mice, kept here in the kitchen as part of a breeding project for release in the wild in the spring and summer. Then the damselflies will have emerged after their long time in the mud below as nymphs. They'll dance again next to the feeder. Next to water skaters, or striders as they're sometimes called. And Robin's seen it all. And Banksy is on to another project, by a wall perhaps. Squirrel Nutkin may be considered a loser, but he's very adaptable. Young oak leaves. Forget the feeder. That's centre of attention for the nutters, not the Fockers.